Hey everyone and welcome. Hope everyone is having a good day so far. In this video we look at an article in the Express regarding the EU's refusal to give in, and David Frosty Knickers' response is strong and resolute in my opinion.
And I do believe that we have rotten politics, and I'm not using that as an exaggeration. Rotten politics in this country at the moment.
Before we watch David Frosty's interview, I'd like to highlight Michael Gove's absolutely hilarious movements and facial expressions. Comedy gold. The article is titled, Barnier has head in the sand, EU warned as Brexit trade talks near disastrous collapse. Sounding good so far, isn't it? Let's watch this comedy gold with a very patriotic can-do David Frosty Knickers and Michael Gove.
You're right. We obviously are quite a long way from the broad outline of an agreement that we hope to be at this point. We are, I guess, frustrated that it is clear from the discussions that we've been having in the last few months that a free trade agreement and the economic aspects of this negotiation could be agreed pretty quickly, but that other issues like the level playing field, like fisheries and so on, get in the way. I hope we can make some constructive progress next round and in the run into the high-level meeting. Obviously, it's going to be limited. We have to see how that high-level meeting can be used to make progress in the best way. Personally, I hope it can be a way of giving some new impetus.
That was hilarious, right? Let's read the article. The European Union has been sent a huge warning as post-Brexit trade talks edge towards a disastrous collapse. Good. With Michel Barnier accused of being in denial and having his head in the sand over the UK's threat to walk away from negotiations. The two sides, led by the UK's chief Brexit negotiator David Frost and Brussels counterpart Mr Barnier, began negotiations on the future relationship in March after Boris Johnson delivered on his promise to get Brexit done on January the 31st. No he didn't. He didn't get Brexit done because we're still dealing with Brexit, are we not? But the talks have quickly descended into chaos, with the UK and EU trading brutal blows over their negotiating stances and demands for certain elements in any post-Brexit agreement. Key areas such as a level playing field, yep, not happening. State aid, not happening. Tax and access to the single market all still remain unsolved, with no solution in sight. We'd be quite happy to leave all of those, would we not? Talks appear to have reached a stalemate, with Mr Barnier writing to UK opposition party leaders to say the EU is open to the idea of an extension to the transition period by up to 2 years. But this was immediately slapped down by both Mr Johnson and Mr Frosty Knickers, sorry David, who have dismissed this will and continue to insist a trade deal is signed before the deadline on December the 31st, 2020. A group of Remain ministers, traitors, led by Liberal Democrat acting co-leader Sir Ed Davey, the man that wanted to, let me remember, totally overturn a democratic vote. That's the man, yeah. This is the man that they went straight to. Rather telling, isn't it? Are also trying to squeeze a bill through Parliament in a last-ditch and desperate attempt to delay Brexit by up to 2 years. In regards to that bill, it's a virtue signal. It's never going to get passed through while the Tories have such a large majority. It's just virtue signalling to the Remoaners from Ed Davey, that. Nothing to worry about whatsoever. Insignificant. The second reading of this bill is due to take place on June the 12th. Trade talks could reach a critical point on Monday when the next round of virtual negotiations begin. With Mr Frosty Knickers continuing to warn the EU needs to dramatically change its stance on negotiations and relent on a number of areas if further progress is to be made. I don't think they're capable of. I think they know if we get any less than that, they're done. We'll be competing on every level, and I don't think the EU can compete with us when we're on full swing. Obviously, it's going to take a bit of time that now with the lurgy lockdown and the crippling of the economy. Well done, Tories. I really appreciate that one, to be honest. But we will still be a better powerhouse, in my opinion, than the EU can be. I actually believe that's why they've been so desperate right from day one. I think they actually know without us, they're nothing. Think I'm wrong? Let me know. John McDonnell, Head of Government Affairs at the Adam Smith Institute, told Express, as we approach the final week of talks before the June summit, negotiations are likely to collapse unless there is a compromise on trade deal and fisheries agreement. The compromise is they don't get them and we don't care. How's that one? Is that a good compromise? I think that's a good compromise. David Frost has admitted it is unlikely a fisheries agreement will be met by July the 1st. Isn't that the precursor to us walking away then at that point? Isn't it? While this is a soft deadline, the EU will have to accept the UK wants control over its own waters if negotiations are to progress. There has been some suggestion that the penny is dropping for Barnier, that the UK will follow through on walking away from the negotiation table unless the EU drops regulatory alignment. I don't think that's the case, not at all. Otherwise he wouldn't be trying to get our Ramonas to kick in again, would he? He's desperate. However, this letter to remain supporting opposition MPs offering an extension to the transition period indicates otherwise. Yep, exactly so. That's exactly what it indicates. It indicates they are terrified of us as a single entity because they know that we will be able to compete with them and compete better, in my opinion. Barnier still appears in denial that the Conservatives secured their election victory by promising not to extend the transition period. Frosty Knickers is ready to walk away and Barnier has his head in the sand. As we approach the final week of negotiations before the June summit, both sides will soon have to decide if continuing negotiations under the current stalemate is preferable to preparing for a no-deal scenario. Prepare, Barnier, because it's what you're going to be getting. Because you're not going to be capable of backing down on this, are you? Because if you do, we've got you. It seems to be the damned if they do, damned if they don't at this point, aren't they? If they give us the deal that we really, really want, we can crush them. If they don't give us the deal we really, really want, we will definitely crush them. Cheers me up at no end, that thought, to be honest. Mr McDonald had previously warned Mr Johnson won't hesitate to walk away from a trade deal with the EU and lashed out at Brussels for not taking the Prime Minister's threats seriously enough. He warned a disastrous no-deal scenario for both sides is now becoming more of a reality. The head of government affairs at the Adam Smith Institute said, while a trade deal is now even more in both of the EU and UK's interest, the EU appears not to understand, despite how often it has been repeated, that unlike Theresa May, Johnson's strong parliamentary majority is staked on his commitment to get Brexit done. Very true, that statement. If he doesn't get Brexit done properly, he knows his legacy is done, isn't it? And we all know Boris wants a legacy, which means he's got to be a good Prime Minister, has he not? It is likely he will not hesitate to walk away from the table. Johnson and his top team have already shown willingness to walk away should their negotiating principles be violated. They refused to cave to pressure to amend their withdrawal agreement bill when the Tories had no working majority, choosing the riskier strategy of pursuing a general election over sacrificing their principles. I think it was a bit more than that, but we'll go into that in another video. My opinion on this? Well, firstly, the video was priceless and very telling. In regards to the EU, they'll not bend, will they? They want for them only, and it will ensure the thing they are truly terrified of, and that is British economical dominance. Hence the fisheries and close alignment. It's not so much need our money, in my opinion, that has driven the EU's disgraceful behaviour towards us. It's the fear that they have of Britain as a competing nation. We will crush them, and they know it. Well, Barnier, you had a chance at mutual cooperation. Now you get competition. You reap what you sow. But anyway, let me know what you think, everyone. Is this more good news in bad news times? Because it is for me. It's giving me a bit more hope that the Tories are going to stand firm at least in regards to Brexit. But we shall see, won't we? If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit the like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell icon, and I'll see you on the next one.